My EHT 4100 assignment 2 relates to the Design and Technologies curriculum for years 3 and 4 by firstly posing a student-orientated problem, which is that students are a sustainability officer. They are employed by the council. Council have been advocating to reduce wastage and are accepting donations of clothing that are no longer wearable with the intention to repurpose the material. So what students are required to do is to repurpose this material and create a design solution. They collaborate in groups to brainstorm ideas and record their ideas before they create the solution. Then they create the solution and they present this to the class. So firstly, they investigate properties of materials and define their uses based on these properties, which applies to the knowledge and understanding content descriptor. Investigate how forces and the properties of materials affect the behaviour of a product or system. Students conduct investigations to understand the characteristics and properties of material and forces that may affect the behaviour and performance of a product or system. For example, they've given a design. The general capabilities addressed are literacy, critical and creative thinking. This is because students need to organise information. They need to understand learning area vocabulary such as properties and components and materials. They are recording information as well. They are also conducting the investigation as seen in image 1, where they take a sample of 4 different materials, investigate what their properties are, then record the uses. There is also a resource link here which gives students information about using specific materials for specific uses. This task further connects to knowledge and understanding design and technologies curriculum through the content descriptor. Investigate the suitability of materials, systems, components, tools and equipment for a range of purposes. So the elaboration is students investigate the suitability of technologies, materials, systems, components, tools and equipment when designing and making a product, service or environment, for example, a toy. The general capabilities addressed here are critical and creative thinking, literacy, personal and social capacity, and ICT. So this assignment applies to this content descriptor because students, first of all, address the suitability of fabric for different uses as they need to create a design solution with a specific use. They also look at what tools and equipment to use when creating this product. They need to evaluate safety requirements of each tool. Critical and creative thinking, literacy, personal and social capacity, and ICT all occur through collaboration. Students need to investigate practices around the school. They also need to present how their product is sustainable and how it meets a need and reduces waste. Students also take pictures of their process. They record their ideas using their iPad or tablet. The next content descriptor is recognise the role of people in design and technologies occupations and explore factors including sustainability that impact on the design of products, services and environments to meet community needs. So here students look at designers and how they often edit their ideas and their designs throughout the making of a solution. They also develop an understanding of how designers create a solution that meets a specific need. So the specific need, as stated earlier, is that as a community, we are looking to reduce waste. They also understand that they need to meet different community needs, so they're not just going to design any solution. This solution needs to have a purpose. For example, a library bag that students can use at school. They also address general capabilities for this content descriptor: literacy, critical and creative thinking, personal and social capability, ethical understanding. This is because they are being understanding of the group members, they are collaborating with others, they are organising information, they are recording ideas, and they are further developing their presentation. So this then links in with the English curriculum, literacy creating text, because students plan, draft and publish imaginative, informative and persuasive text demonstrating increasing control over text structures and language features, and selecting print and multimodal elements appropriate to the audience and purpose. So throughout this series of 10 lessons, students in the final making of their planning of their solution, they need to develop a PowerPoint and a letter to the council to explain the process of their design, how and why they chose the material, what steps they took, and the final sketch of their solution, all before they begin making their solution. For the design and technologies, processes and production skills, this series of lessons applies to this area of the curriculum because students look at opportunities for designing. They obviously test and explore a variety of materials. They look at components of objects and different equipment that is needed when creating a design solution, as well as techniques. They use the available material, which is donated fabric, and specific tools to create their design solution that they came up with in a group. They also investigate sustainable practices by going on an incursion around the school and taking pictures of different elements around the school. For example, catching water underneath the bubblers, recycling bins, any vegetable gardens. Obviously depends on the school that they are at. Students also understand the impact of excessive waste and what happens with landfill and how this negatively impacts the environment, and hence why as a community it is important for everyone to minimise waste. Students generate, develop and communicate their design ideas using appropriate technical terms and graphical representation techniques, which can be seen in our PowerPoint template. Students need to document the process. They need to use the technical terms such as properties, materials, components, and they need to present that information to the class. Our series of lessons also connects to sustainability, which is a cross-curriculum priority, as students are repurposing a donated piece of clothing and they are changing the use of that and altering the material to create a new use. Students also explore sustainable practices not only in the school but in the community. They discuss the need for recycling and how we minimise waste, such as compost, bins, throughout the lessons. Students need to understand sustainability to be able to complete their final product. Students also evaluate and reflect on their design process. They draw and label a sketch of their design and discuss the item's functionality and how repurposing their item supports sustainability. They create their design product. So this overview is open to students making their own item. However, an example provided has been a library book bag. So for differentiation purposes, this is an example provided to students that they can use. The final product is a reusable bag. It could be a library bag, it could be a grocery bag. There are plenty of different ideas that they could do. In the appendix list, so Appendix A is cool crafts with old t-shirt design ideas, and students are exposed to and they discuss a range of different ideas, which also caters for diverse needs within the classroom. There is formative assessment for each lesson, which is used to inform ongoing planning. The summative assessment is the very end design solution as well as the group presentation. The teacher check-in is used in lesson 5 to ensure students are on the right track and that their solution is something that is manageable and that they are using the provided tools. After lesson 5, students will go on to complete their solution. So in lesson 5, they're still in the generating and designing phase. And then lesson 6, they begin creating their design solution, which is continued on in lesson 7 and 8. And then in lesson 9, they evaluate and reflect on the process. And then in lesson 10, they reflect on their learning, identify new understanding, present their presentation to the class with their final solution.